It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we have a can of Deeds Brewing Company's Lost City to show you. It's a hazy pale ale coming in at 5% ABV. It's in a 440ml can and it's probably based on the lost city of Atlantis. Hops are Cashmere, Strata, Mosaic and Trident. Style is hazy pale. Thank you very much to Trav in Australia for sending me the beer. Without further ado, let's get this beer out into a glass and see what we get. Oh, look at that. A nice full can of beer. Right. This glass has a little bit of etching in the bottom, so it might create a little bit more carbonation than maybe perhaps the brewer wanted. It's funny, isn't it? Because some breweries, some bars, they like some etching in their glass. I mean, this is a Skagen glass here from, I think it's Lithuania. No etching. No etching on this one. But this one has. I think it's preference. I think to make a beer look really presentable, you can put this etching in the bottom of the glass, which creates a lot of carbonation. I think the downside of that, though, is that once the carbonation is knocked out of the beer rather quickly, the beer will go flatter quicker. But it's not really a downside, really, is it? As long as you're drinking your beer quite quickly. Don't give it a chance to go flat. So we've got a 1 finger white head then, good levels of carbonation in the beer. And it's hazy and straw coloured. Let's get the aroma on the beer then. Ooh, now I'm gonna kind of guess on lager yeast. It's got that dry, that slightly dry, slightly estery lager yeast about it. A little bit of tangerine, a little bit of grapefruit, a little bit of tinned pineapple. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, yeah, that's rather. There's a level of sweetness in here. A level of sweetness of that kind of syrupy tinned pineapple flavour. I pulled a beer out of the fridge about 10 minutes ago. Maybe, I don't know, I've been to bars and they've served beer at this temperature. And it's as cracking as it is, lovely, refreshing, hot day, cold beer. I just think that maybe a little warmer, maybe I've drank this beer a little bit too soon because it's just offering up, I think when you cool a beer down to below 4 degrees, it becomes very one-dimensional. It's just one flavour that kind of melts together. But when you start to warm a beer up, you really start to get more of that kind of malt, probably a little bit more of the yeast, dare I say it, probably a little bit more of the hops as well. So I've got the rest into the glass here. Is there any sediment here in the bottom of the glass? No, it's quite a kind of well-behaved beer, this, isn't it? It's good. It's good. It's not just tin pineapple though, it's zesty. It's really zesty, like you're biting down on some orange peel, or you're biting down on some lemon peel. It's a little bit spicy and peppery, a little bit bitter on the back end. Sweetness to begin with, bitterness over here. It's like my classic hand glider. You know, it's perfectly balanced beer, really good balanced beer. And another great beer from Deeds Brewing Company. And I'm making my way over to the subject of Deeds Brewing Company. So Trav in Australia, who sends me the beer, is a massive fan of Deeds Brewing Company, and they're like a local brewery to him, Deeds. And well, it's a real shame because they're not around anymore. But what Trav did is that he managed to find as many Deeds beers as possible in Australia and sent them to me here in Wales and the UK. So in this box alone, I must have reviewed about, or I'm about to review about 7 or 8 of the Deeds beers. And it's a great, careful with your words, I suppose, isn't it? But if you ever were to kind of like offer a tribute or a sign-off to a brewery that unfortunately hasn't made it, then that sign-off would be, let's get them all on YouTube, all of these beers, let's get them reviewed. Of course, be honest about them, they're still very good. Look at this as I rock the beer back and forth, look at the quality on the beer. And hopefully they kind of phoenix from the ashes, you know, they kind of like come back into the brewing game in another form. Great stuff, absolutely great stuff. Really well balanced. What is it, 5% ABV. Great hazy pale to, you know, session on a weekend. Ultimately, complacency was their downfall. Despite all their achievements, routine became an anchor that dragged all their achievements to the depths. Though they sank into the cloudy sea, they are remembered. The columns they erected stand as an ever-present reminder to build higher, better, and improve on what only just works. This hazy pale is an evolution on what worked, while also a trial of the new. Soft, fruity, and dank hops next to evolutions of the classics. It stands on a silky body of what worked in the past, but is built stronger for the future. But I quite like that. I quite like that analogy. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that makes a bit of sense. But I do like classic beer also. I still think real ale is tremendous. I still think classic British real ales are fantastic. So I'm going to rate this beer, this Lost City, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.